and show you our new widget, which is a list widget. Let me start screen sharing. Can you see the screen? Okay, so this is a new widget which is currently in. We are shipping out in two phases. So we are shipping it as a with beta tag. So currently in this, what you can do is you can actually instead of using table, you can just um, make your very own containers and loop and repeat your items like you do in tables. Let me just start making something with it. So as soon as you drop the list widget, you will see a container. The first container will actually act as a template for the list widget. So anything you do in the first container will be replicated to all the items, and these container will be created based on the number of items you have in your items array, and this items can come from any API or query, or it can be static. So for example, I'm using a API, and I have just binded that API with this list. So you can just do like this. You can just bind your API with the list widget, and it will replicate according the number of item it has. So currently I have like 150 Pokemon. So you can see the list contain 150 Pokemons. So also in this we are doing auto pagination. So based on the height of your container and the height of your list widget, we are auto paginating the data for you. So so let me just quickly show how you can bind a current item in the list widget. So for example, you want to show here the current Pokemon. So what you can do is you can just simply do current item dot name. So as you can see, the value has changed according to the current item in the array. Also, let's quickly. Okay, and also you can just do some actions on a button like this. So so for example, I want to show the name of the Pokemon as alert on button click. So I can simply bind an action and just say current item dot name, and this name is actually is coming from your data array. And also you can just do on click action on your list item as well. Also also there's a feature where you can have a selected item uh, a selected item when you click on a list item. So for example, this on this image, uh, what I've done is I have just binded with the selected item dot image. So as soon as I click on the first item, it will get changed to the selected item. So this is a kind of alternative to a battle looking list. So instead of table, you can now simply use a list widget if you want more control or on how your container it should look like. I think that's the main feature set of list widget right now. And also one thing in the first phase, we are not uh, we can't use widgets like input widgets in the container because of some platform limitation. But in the phase two, we will be covering that thing also. So I think that's my side.
Got it. Thanks, Pawan. Anybody has any questions regarding the list widget? So this is like the first release of the widget. We'll be releasing more features along with it. Like this widget will evolve over time. So does anybody have any questions? Hey, Pawan, can you just deploy it and show what it looks like? Because right now I think it's not showing. Yeah. Okay, can you just like, yeah. Awesome. So now I think thanks, Pawan, for this. So Sumit was on our A4s last week. So he was helping our community with doubts on Discord, Intercom, and generally supporting our users. So he'll be talking a little bit about the feature requests that we've received and what we do and the bug fixes we've done over the last few weeks. Sumit, over to you.
Hi, Akshay. So what we have seen so far over the past week is that people have been facing some issues with respect to the chart widget, and there have been some issues with installation script. Basically, there was a case where a user was running the installation script in a path where they didn't have a permission, and the script was failing but not reporting the correct error. And there was another issue where the user was not able to come up with Mongo plugin command, and which can be a little bit difficult to form given the format of the command. So regarding the errors, we have come up with some of the fixes, and the fixes will get into the production very soon. So we should not be seeing any chart widget issues. And the team is also going to pick up the issue with the installation script, and we'll make sure that the right kind of error is shown to the user. Apart from these, there have been some feature requests as well. Like there was a request for an email action where the user wants to send their form data via an email, and there has been a request for a widget or a feature to generate a QR code, and another request for importing custom JS libraries. So regarding the email action and the QR code, so there are alternatives for them, like using a REST API. If you can use an external service, so that would be an alternative. But we are also working on these features, and they're on our roadmap, but the timeline has to be defined. Uh, so that is all from my side, Akshay.
Thank you, Sumit. Anybody have any questions on community issues and the feature requests? And if you have any feature requests, do feel free to let us know in this forum. We're happy to discuss it and understand your use case.
Just want to add one more thing, like regarding the Mongo plugin command, we are working on a form kind of an interface where the user can enter their query in a form instead of writing a full Mongo command. So that should make writing Mongo queries easier.
Awesome. Thanks, Sumit. So I'm just waiting. Somebody's raised their hand. Yeah, hey Abhijit.
No, actually, I was just checking in with Sumit's inputs that Mongo will now have a form query. So it will make quite easier to query a MongoDB databases.
Got it. Awesome. Sounds exciting, guys. So Nikhil, if you can just tell us a little bit about what to expect in the next month in terms of releases from AppSmith. We'll just discuss that, obviously take questions, and after that we'll stick around for community discussions and specific help with your apps. We'll help pair program and figure things out with you.
Thanks, Akshay.
Yeah, so I think over the next month, some of the things we have as part of our roadmap is that we are going to actually release a feature where you can group multiple widgets together and move them around. So that's currently in our pipeline. We're also going to be working on an undo redo feature where all changes on the canvas can easily be Command Z or Command Shift, R, and just allow you to easily undo and redo any changes you've made. So that's going to be a big bump to our UI building experience. The other thing that we're going to begin working on is the different properties of a page. So today pages can't be categorized. You can't control their visibility. It's really hard to add any type of logic to them. So we're also going to give you a little bit of control at the page level as well. The other two big items from the action side, which is getting picked up, one is the JS editor. It's the much weighted feature. We've already begun working on this internally, and we are really optimistic that hopefully by at least the beginning of next month, we're going to have a really good version of it out. As well as we are also going to introduce linting and error reporting for JavaScript across the platform. So anytime there is a syntax error anywhere in the platform, we will now have linting enabled so that we'll be able to correctly report all of those errors. And with our new debugger coming out, I think this will work really well with the overall platform. The other two really awesome community features that we are going to be shipping are the ability to export application. So this is something that has been discussed. We talked about doing it via Git sync. We talked about whether this should be in community or enterprise. And finally, the community has won. So we are finally releasing this community feature where you will be able to export an application as well as import it on any AppSmith instance. So this will make it really easy for people who are developing locally, as well as people who have accidentally developed on the cloud but want to move to their local or to a self-hosted instance. That will now be possible with this feature. As well as we're also going to be releasing an action for reactive, a feature for reactive actions that will make it really easy to rerun any action so long as any of its inputs have changed. So this will drastically reduce the amount of configuration required for all actions and will make a much better first user experience for building applications. This will also be an optional feature where people can disable it if they want to manually trigger these actions, but by default, it will be enabled on so that all actions will automatically run whenever any of their inputs change. So that's kind of how the next month is looking, Akshay. I think we're very excited internally about some of these features, especially the JS editor. I think it's a much requested community feature. And as always, the community, I think we are always keeping our ears open for the community and trying to do more for them. And yeah, I think we're very excited about what's going to come out this month.
Awesome stuff, Nikhil. So yeah, so I think that's from our end for this week's office. So Joseph, do you have anything, Joseph, Siddharth, anything you'd like to discuss? Any questions you have for the team, anything we can help with, any inputs from your end, from a product direction, product feedback? Be great to hear from you guys.
I was wondering about the Google Sheets integration. I know it's still waiting to be approved by Google. I've been testing it on the test server, and I was just wondering if you guys had an ETA on approval, if there's any known issues or anything that you need help testing with. I do a lot of Google Sheets integrations, and I'd be glad to help test it.
Thanks for that, Joseph. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten an ETA for approval from Google side, but what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to release it under a beta tag on Monday. So this is going to be live for everybody on Monday with the beta tag. So anybody who's trying to authenticate with it will unfortunately see that this app is still unverified. You will see that warning banner from Google, but from our QA side, it's looking good. The plugin works perfectly. And we're going to just open it up for anybody who is okay with kind of using this as a beta feature. Once Google kind of approves it, we'll remove the beta tag and you won't no longer see that unverified message.
Okay. I was considering building a script to automate something, but before I do that, maybe just wanted to see if you have plans of a similar feature. So when you go to connect a spreadsheet, it's pretty safe to assume you're probably going to want a GET request to get all the data and a way to update an existing row and a way to add a new row. And then you're probably going to want to do that same thing for every sheet in the container, the whole workbook. So I was going to export the app and find that portion of the definition and then just create a script that loops through that and does it once for every sheet. and create that definition for me, and then import it back in. But is there a plan of doing a similar feature before I go building that myself?
So in terms of definition, do you mean like defining the column headers of every sheet? Is that what it-
Well, it would kind of be that, yeah. So the GET request, you're just going to get whatever data. You don't have to have a template for that. But now when you want to update the row or add a new row, you need your JSON template in there. And then you've got to duplicate that for each sheet. And so I was going to try to make a script that would just, all I would do is connect the sheet once, and then it would loop through all the tabs and create the API definition for the GET, for the update, and for add new row for every tab, every sheet.
For every sheet? Okay. Yeah, you could, I think, so it would probably not be that difficult. Or I think what you just need to do is define those for one page, and then you can just copy them for different pages. Like you can just copy the entire page. When you copy the page, automatically all the actions will get copied. So for the new page, all you'd have to do is just update the sheet name. Everything else should work out of the box.
Okay, you're saying pages in AppSmith at the
Yeah.
page level, all the API requests are embedded in that one page. And so if I do the whole thing once, copy the page, and then just change the name of the sheet a few times. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll give that a try then. That sounds easier than writing a script and exporting and importing. So, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. And any other questions? Awesome. So I think we can conclude the session. So this is what we have to end. Thank you for your offer to help and your questions, Joseph. We'll work. If you have any feedback, obviously you know where to reach us. Feel free to reach out to us. So thank you guys for your time today. See you guys soon.
Thank you all. See you.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks.